at 68.12. It's up 28. Oliver Slope is with Blue Line Futures. And Oliver, again, it looks like everything, eyes are on that soy oil market right now.
Yeah, it's obviously caught a lot of attention, especially with the headlines into the weekend. And when you kind of zoom out and look at the grain markets, really going back to the start of last week, it's a reminder of how fast things can change. A lot weaker during the first half of last week's trade, and then a nice strong rally to round out the week on good biofuel headlines, potential, risk off sentiment, which would be short covering in the grains. And then this morning, just kind of giving all that back. So things change very quickly. And unfortunately for corn and I think soybeans largely, there's really not much of a weather story right now, and we're entering a time of year where we start to see some seasonal weakness creep in. So without a real good story, I think this market just continues to struggle a little bit. That's not to say that things can't change. As I'd mentioned, things change very quickly, but right now there's just really not a whole lot to get excited, which keeps funds pressing their fairly large net short position across the grains complex.
Okay, we often will refer to corn as being gold, if you will, but let's talk precious metals specifically for a moment. In the gold market, we've seen some nice gains here. We're off of the highs for the day. Thoughts on precious metals?
Precious metals, energies all got a big bid into the weekend on Friday on concerns that, we weren't really sure what was going to happen in the Middle East over the weekend. Obviously, a lot transpired, but nothing, to the worst degree imaginable took place, which was really just a potential closer of the Strait of Hormuz, which really would have disrupted things. That's a large passageway of oil shipments from Iran out to the ocean. And with China being the largest importer of Iranian oil, that really would have escalated things substantially, I think, globally, not just in the Middle East. So the fact that that is still open and running, I think, has kind of cooled the nerves, so to speak. We're also hearing some talks this morning of a potential, truce, or at least talks of that. And that's taken some premium out of the market as well, not just in the gold market, but you can see that in the oil market as well.
Yeah, and silver's been steady near those 13-year highs as well. So, again, those outside markets have quite a bit of strength. We'll take a break. We'll be back in a moment. We'll talk livestock futures. Market day report continues in a moment. 22 at a 111.35. Let's go back to Chicago. Oliver Slope, Blue Line Futures. Did we overdo that pairing, if you will, last week?
Yeah, I think a little bit. And as mentioned in the grain segment, I think on Friday, what you largely saw was just a risk-off day. And in the cattle complex, you have the funds who are very, very aggressively long. Friday's commitment to traders report showed funds net long about 138,000 live cattle contracts, which is historically lofty, still below the record that was set in January, which was closer to 157,000 contracts. But nonetheless, a large position. And then in feeder cattle, a record net long position of about 36,000 futures and options contracts. So when you go into a weekend with uncertainty and the potential for headline risk to evolve over the weekend come Sunday and Monday, you have the risk off trade, which is what we got on Friday. Outside markets are back in risk on mode to start this week's trade. And so you're seeing a nice little bounce in the cattle complex, which still has a pretty darn good fundamental backdrop. The cash market remains firm. Boxes have been screaming higher. So a lot of positive fundamentals. The biggest concern, I think, going forward is potential headline risk. I think that's the risk to the downside here. Volatility has inched up over the last couple of weeks, so something to keep a close eye on.
Oliver, thanks for your time. Oliver Slope, Blue Line Futures.